You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey folks, welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
And in today's show, we're going to talk about prototypes,
Sure.
game design, those types of topics. Now, we're hoping real soon to get a guest on the line. We're waiting for a call from Jamey Stegmaier, who 9 years ago prototyped and created his own first game, Viticulture.
Viticulture, yeah.
And he had us out this past weekend in St. Louis, where we joined him on his design day. And we got to play prototypes with designers and give feedback and have conversations with the designers. So we thought the topic would be a great topic to have with regards to designing games.
Yeah.
And Jamey agreed to call in and take some of your phone calls. We'll connect you,
Very
or
cool.
you can ask him questions about prototyping and such.
Very cool. Yeah, it was a good time out in St. Louis. First time you'd ever been there?
Yes.
Okay. And we brought the families. I brought my wife. You brought your whole family. And I know it was my wife's first time being there. I had been through there once or twice as a kid, but had never spent any real time there. So it was nice to go out and spend a few days, and especially spend some time at the I don't know if we call it a convention, at the Design Day.
Design Day is the name of it.
Yeah, the one-day event. So that was very cool. We got to, I think they said there was about 70 or 80 people there, and we got to hang out. We got to meet some people. Met some other content creators. We met lots of game designers, some new to the designing world, and some that had been around for a while. From what I understand, several of the ones that were there have several published titles, and so it was very cool being able to play some prototypes. Some that we played were early in the development cycle, very prototypey. Some were not so early in the development cycle. It was the last game we played was actually fairly far into it. It had some nice components already made up, and he mentioned that it was not too far from probably putting some real meat on it. So,
Yeah, but I think most importantly, we had tacos.
oh yeah, yeah, the food. It always gets back to the food. Yeah.
We got a phone call coming in. Let's take a peek here. Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Jamey Stegmaier calling from St. Louis. How are you doing?
Hey, Jamey.
Hello, Jamey. Long time no see. It's only been a couple of days.
Yeah,
and
not even a week yet. Yeah.
we're already missing
Yeah.
St. Louis.
Yeah. Me and the wife were already talking about when we're going to get our opportunity to go back out. So that'd be awesome.
That's awesome. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Are we on air right now?
We are
just
on
talking?
air. We are live.
Yeah, we are live.
Welcome to the show.
Cool.
Thank you for joining us. We've got phone. We got viewers on, so I'm going to open up the phone lines for them that way, because I know I've got you for a limited time, so I want the viewers to have enough opportunity to call in and talk to you, ask questions if they have them, and if not, just share with you what they've been up to game wise, and maybe you can ask them questions about what they're doing.
We got
Cool.
a couple guys we just went on here just a couple minutes ago, so we have a couple people in the chat, nobody on the phones yet, but again, Carlos is just now opening that phone line that we have. But I just wanted to, Mr. Jeeves in the chat says the only flaw with St. Louis is the baseball team, so I don't know about that. So he's obviously not a St. Louis Cardinals fan. I know
He is in Chicago, if I remember.
Oh, is that okay?
He's been a caller before.
So that would be a thing. Yeah,
He's a Cubs fan.
for sure. And then
Yeah, we were talking baseball a little bit when you guys were here. You were from Tampa Bay, and the Cardinals, right after that conversation, they went on quite a winning streak. So they're actually in the playoff hunt now, too.
Yes,
Yeah, that's what I've heard, yeah.
they're a wild card, I believe. They're picking
Wild
up.
card.
Yep. So I think they're second in their division. Who's the leader of that division? Do we know? Who?
The Brewers.
Brewers,
still
Milwaukee.
does well.
Oh, okay, so they're in there, but I think it's fairly close between them and the Brewers. So I don't know if they still have a chance. I know there's only about a week left in the regular season, so I don't know if there's still a chance to catch them for first place. But I think they're pretty solid in the wild card, from what I heard.
Yeah. I mean, it might be tight. Depends on. I think San Diego, which is a pretty good team. I think they're in the hunt too.
Yeah.
And we'll see. But Tampa Bay, I was looking at your division.
Yeah.
Other than the Orioles, it is a stacked division. It's awesome that you've done so well. Tampa Bay has done so well.
With the least amount of money, I'll say. And let me pause for the folks, all the game folks out there. This was probably my favorite part about going to Design Day.
Yeah.
Was meeting up with other gamers who also had other interests other than gaming with me.
not
The
just board
conversations we
games,
had
yeah.
was awesome.
That's for sure.
So this is just kind of an extension of what we had going. We talked about sports. We talked about science. We talked about visiting places. You put together a great event, I have to say, a great group of folks that you invited out.
Thank you. And you guys were, I'm still blown away that you came so far from Florida to attend. Thank you so much for doing that. That's a long trip. One of you flew, one of you drove. Carlos,
Exactly.
you drove, Robert, you flew.
Carlos had mentioned he's, I don't know if he's second guessing that now, but he said his foot has been sore since he got back from pushing on that accelerator pedal. But
Robert got to watch me cramp like 2 minutes before the show started.
Right before he went on, he grabbed his foot and was hopping around. He had a foot cramp. So, but yeah, no, we really appreciate you inviting us out. I mean, it was the first time we've gotten back out. We've done some, I'd say, small to medium-sized gatherings and cons and things in the past. We've never been to any of the real big ones, but that certainly is on our list. But just being able to get out and kind of test the waters again, I believe if I heard you on your live chat, you mentioned it was about 75-ish people.
That was my feeling. I don't know if there were any no-shows at the last minute, but as long as there were only a few, it was around that number. Yeah.
But that was a good number. Like it was enough where it was very casual. I mean, we felt.
Looks like we got a call coming in. Let's take a peek.
Oh, cool.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from? Oh, hang on a second. Let me get him on the line here.
Oh, we got a little technical difficulty. Hold on one.
This is my first time having two phones at one time.
Oh, yeah.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
My name is Landis Oben, and
hi, Landis.
well,
We've got Jamey Stegmaier on the line with us from Stonemaier Games. Any questions or comments for him?
yes. My first question is, how do you have, while making your games, did you get inspired by another game to make the game as great as they are?
Yeah, Landis, that's a great question. And definitely, yes. Yeah, I play a lot of games to learn from them and just have fun with them. And for every one of my games, there's at least one game specifically that has inspired it. And during the design and development process, I'm constantly playing games, and those games are giving me ideas too to make all the mechanisms better and more fun. Do you have a favorite game of ours or of mine? And I can maybe tell you what one of the inspirations was for that game.
Oh, that'd be great.
Well, my favorite game that you made, well, maybe not you specifically, but at least your company made, is My Little Scythe. I'm not old enough for Scythe yet, but I'm not. But I do like the Scythe mechanic.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and that's a great one. We love My Little Scythe, and as you can probably tell, the inspiration for that one was Scythe itself.
Sure.
Yeah, and yeah, hopefully you'll get to play that one too, Landis, someday.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Okay, now.
Oh, go ahead.
He's got a deeper question.
Go ahead, Landis.
Go ahead, Landis.
My second question is, well, you see, I'm working on a game inspired by Star Realms. Just so you know, Star Realms is a deck builder where there's like alien species, and you build up your spaceships, and you attack the other player and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
My game is based on the same deck builder mechanic, but instead of alien species and spaceships, it's ant colonies. So ants.
Ant colonies.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, the big difference, just to make it not just another version of Star Realms, is that as the game progresses, you buy cards, yes, do damage and all that stuff, but you also buy cards to build up your ant colony, which at the end of the game will earn you points. By the way, the end of the game is triggered when somebody loses all the health. 1 health equals 1 point. So you might lose on health, but if you have a bunch of ant colonies, you might not lose on points. And my question here is, do you have any advice on how to further developed this project.
All right, Landis, thank you for the question. We're going to take that one. Jamey, go ahead. Hit him up. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Landis, first, I think it's awesome that you're working on a game, and it's so neat to hear that you're inspired by Star Realms. I love that game. And I love that you're not just copying the game, but also being inspired by it and then adding your own twist to it. And that twist sounds really cool. I love the idea of the end game trigger being life, but that the winner is the one with the best ant colony. That sounds really great. I would say, I guess I'll give you two quick thoughts. One is that you're probably already experiencing this, but one is, get the game to the table and play test that prototype a lot. I don't know if you've done that already, but if it's in your head, it might play very differently when you get it to the table. And the other thing is to keep playing and watching videos about other deck builders. You don't necessarily have to play every other deck building game, but you can watch videos about them too. And one that I'll recommend for you if you want to try it is a game that's similar to Star Realms. I think maybe the same company too. A game called Shards of Infinity.
Yep.
It's very similar, and I love Shards of Infinity. I love both those games, but I'd highly recommend checking that one out. It might give you some good ideas too.
Hey, Landis, how old are you now?
10.
10. Wow.
All right, early start. We got a prodigy here.
Yeah.
Shards is a great choice, Jamey, because it also has a different winning or ending mechanism that you don't normally see in the game. If I understand correctly, there's a way to trigger the end game and instantly win. As a deck builder, it's nice to see multiple paths to victory.
Yes, I totally agree.
I think Landis was talking about that. Thank you, Landis, for your phone call. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Landis. This was great.
That was actually pretty awesome, Jamey.
That was really cool. Yeah, that's a brave guy to make that call, and I think it's really cool that he's working on a game.
Right.
I think if we sign him early, though, we can get him
cheap. Yeah, get him in cheap. Yeah, before he starts asking for
like
big bucks.
Oreos, maybe. Sign him in for Oreos and get rights to his games.
Very cool. I want to just reference a few things quickly that came up in the chat here. We got BJ from Board Game Gumbo is in the chat. He says,
hey, BJ.
He says, welcome in, Jamey. So he's watching and listening in. We've got Edmund England, who just chimed in and said that he is actually watching from Sweden. Says it's 3:00 in the morning in Sweden. So he's watching and listening now. And BJ mentioned, he says, wow, all the way from Sweden. Very cool.
Looks like Diego's got a question for Jamey. He says, Jamey, I know you are trying to make your games more environmentally friendly by using less plastics and materials. Will you still leave enough room for sleeved cards? I hate not being able to use Parks insert if I decide to protect the sleeves on the cards. I know you talked about the environmental topic that you posted today in your live chat. What do you have to say for Diego? And folks, the phone line's open. Call in.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Diego. I mean, I'm hoping in the future that there will be a sustainable alternative to sleeve cards, maybe a plastic sleeve made out of biodegradable material. But for the time being, all of our, and for the future, all of our inserts will definitely be able to accommodate sleeved cards. We might start to move a little bit away from plastic inserts just because they're inherently plastic, and unless we can use recycled material or biodegradable material, I might start moving away from that a little bit. But yeah, definitely, whatever we do, we'll make sure the sleeve cards fit in that box. I can understand why you want that.
Now, we got a call coming in. Let's take a peek.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hang on, let me make sure I push the right buttons this time. I need to hire someone, Robert.
I need to.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Mitchell calling from Gen Con.
Oh, Mitchell.
Hey, Mitchell at Gen Con. How are you?
Hey. I'm doing all right. Hey, I don't want to...
I think you and Jamey spoke before. It was one time Jamey called in on the show when you were with us, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's for Red Rising. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's right. Yeah, we did talk about Red Rising. How's Gen Con, Mitchell?
Yeah. It's going well. This is my first Gen Con. It's been very, very busy. I don't want to monopolize the conversation about Gen Con because I know Jamey's the star here, right? We're talking about, ask him questions. So I do have a question for you, Jamey, if you don't mind, about developing games. So I don't design games or anything, but I'm a theater person. So I feel like I kind of know what it's like to put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to a project and then kind of put it out in the world for, people to judge, essentially. And so I know whenever I'm directing a show and we're rehearsing for months and months, and then I invite, a close colleague or something to come and comment on it, to give their input, that's kind of my baby that I've worked on for months, and sometimes it's hard to take those critiques. And I have some friends that design games, and whenever I've play tested them, I give input, understandably so. A lot of times they're resistant to that. So how do you get into a mindset whenever you're play testing games to, take that criticism to make the game better instead of just, understandably so, protecting what you created?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. And you're right. It applies to any form of media, any form of passion project. One thing I've kind of learned over the years, you asked, how do I get myself in a certain mindset? And I think part of it for me is more so being aware of my current mindset, my current mental health at that moment, wherever I am in the design process. Because early on in the design process, pretty much anything goes at that point. I don't know what I'm making at that point. People can say whatever they want, and I make that clear to my playtesters. Hey, tell me anything. What sucks? What's great? What's frustrating? What's not? And then later in the process, I still want that good feedback, but I might tell someone this is the type of feedback I want today. This is the type of feedback I can handle today, and this is the type that maybe I'm not ready to handle today.
Sure.
That might even be based on my mood of that day. Because you're right, there could be moments where you've worked so hard on this thing, and maybe at that right moment you really don't want that really harsh criticism. And so I try not to ask it. If I don't really want that harsh criticism at that moment, I don't ask for it. I wait for that right moment when I'm ready to hear it and when I'm ready to do something with it. Have you experienced that at all?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I guess the earlier on in the process, the better, right? Because before you've had time to really fall in love with all the mechanics and solidify them up.
Yeah, exactly.
I played a game in Playtesters Hall today that the designer said he was actually at Design Day with you guys last week.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if you guys remember a game called Clandestine. It was it's like a double, well, actually like a quintuple rondel. It's like creating a secret society.
Oh yeah.
Jason? It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. What's that?
Yeah. Was that Jason?
I don't remember his name. I have his card somewhere, but I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's it. Jason Brooks. I just found it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good game, and so I know not everybody listening knows how the game works, but me and the other playtesters, we all kind of agreed about kind of the order of operations, how our input about how one little thing, in our opinion, could change to make it a little bit more float more smoothly. And he seemed very open to it. He was jotting down notes.
Oh, cool.
So I respected him being in that mindset of being open to, basically listening to the players. And, I don't know, he might use that information, he might not, but I thought he was very receptive. So that's what made me think about that question to ask you. So I appreciate your answer, Jamey. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And also, I like what you said there, that Jason was writing that feedback. He may not have even really fully been processing it yet. Maybe he's waiting for that right moment when he's ready to process it, but at least he's hearing it, he's asking those questions, and he's getting it down on paper to look at it later. I sometimes do that too. I'm not ready for this feedback, but tomorrow I will be. So I'll make sure I have it written down.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Oh, yeah. He was taking all kind of notes. He had, I'm sure that's a common thing with playtesting, but he had charts and things like that. I think he was writing down how long it took people to get to certain, spots in the game. So yeah, I'm sure all that goes into balancing and all that. It was an interesting process to see.
That's awesome. And thank you for playtesting. I'm sure you helped make the game better as a result.
Yeah, it was a very fun game. I got his info and signed up to be notified whenever it's going to be hitting Kickstarter. And I don't do a whole lot of Kickstarter, but I told him I'd definitely back it because I appreciated being able to play it early. It was fun.
I think next year, Mitchell, the plan will be we all buy our tickets for Design Day in March as soon as it comes out, and on my way north with the family van, jump in,
pick up Mitchell from
and then
Louisiana.
we all head up to St. Louis for some popovers and some ribs, and some Fitz root beer.
Fitz root beer, yeah, that's important. That's big.
Thanks for the call,
Sounds
Mitchell.
like a plan. Let's put it in the calendar. Yeah,
I do want to hear from you more about Gen Con. I definitely do. I think William's going to call in later. And I know we're going to dedicate the next show.
He's sitting right next to me.
Oh, is he?
So, yeah.
That's so cool. I'm glad you got to meet up with him, man. Y'all be safe up there.
Yeah, it was cool. All right, you too. Bye.
Thanks.
Take care, Mitchell.
That was awesome. Mitchell is he was a caller into the show, regular all the time, and slowly has been coming in and helping out and joining us, so it's always good to hear from Mitchell. But he brought up some great points about the designer's receptiveness.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to mention that too. So go ahead.
Well, I mean, that was great at the design show. I felt like I was really a part of that process.
Right.
Having that back and forth conversation with the different designers on the games we played.
Although I was going to mention that in the 3 games we played, and this is I'm not going to certainly name any names here, but there was a different level. I felt a different level from the 3 different designers who were there showing their games to that feedback. And there was one.
And they're different people.
Oh, exactly.
People are people.
And again, that was kind of my point, is where I was going with that, is that people are gonna process that and handle that differently. But one of the 3 we played, the designer was appeared to be a little more defensive as people gave feedbacks. And of course, that's just going to happen. I mean, that's going to be some people's process, and it's going to be their personality. And then we had one game that we played that was exactly the opposite, and I felt that some of the players were a little bit harsh in some of the criticism, but he was extremely open. He was taking notes on everything everybody said. He was very very open to saying, oh, I can see where you're coming from, I understand what you're saying, I may or may not take that because of this reason or that reason. And we actually in the middle of the game, we had it was about a 5-minute break where we almost stopped playing for a minute just to kind of process some of the feedback. So
it looks like we got another call coming in.
That's great.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from? Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on. I'm working on this.
He's doing the technical thing. Give us 1 second here.
Okay, I'm back. Beans and Dice. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Oh, hi. My name's Connor. I'm calling from New Iberia, Louisiana.
Hello, Connor.
Hey, Connor.
We got Jamey Stegmaier from Stegmaier Games on the line. Any questions or comments for Jamey?
Yeah, I actually have 2 little quick questions. The first one, they both pertain to Tapestry, by the way, which is one of my favorite games of all time, board game wise.
Oh, thank you, Connor. I appreciate that.
So, no problem. So the first question is pertaining to the point that you had, the points, like the average score or the great score in the rule book. It's like 300. I just wanted to know if that was average from the solo game or from the multiplayer version.
That is kind of the upper end of the average of the multiplayer play tests leading up to the publication of the game. And it's a pretty good score. I don't know if I've even ever gotten 300. Have you gotten 300 when you played?
I've gotten one. So me and Mitchell, who you just got off the phone with, we play it a lot one-on-one. And it took me quite a few games to figure out even just a remotely decent strategy to get that far. But even then, it's ridiculously hard to get there. So I was wondering if it was either solo or multiplayer that you were basing it off of.
It was multiplayer, although I did learn from that, Connor. I'm glad you asked about it. That it's probably better for me to lower that score, even artificially, for the rule book, so everyone can feel a little better about themselves.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I think I did that for Red Rising. I think I
achievement for you, Jamey, on helping me feel better.
Yeah.
Double achievement.
Yeah, and then the second question I have pertaining to the same game is, so I was trying to bring this game up and try to get more friends to play it with me, and one of the biggest concerns they had was the military track, and that because you have the flavor text of the different advancements you can get in military, it seemed odd that you could somebody with a mech to lose to somebody with bows and arrows based on a dice roll. Was it just you didn't want to get too complex with military, or what was the reason for it?
Yeah, my thinking there, I recently did a video about the emergent narrative of games, the story you tell as the result of the mechanisms in games, not the written narrative. And that was kind of what I was aiming for throughout Tapestry, that you'd have those moments that don't really make complete sense, but they're almost memorable because they don't make as much sense. Because you're right. Someone fighting with bows and arrows is not going to compete against someone inside a mech, but you might remember that moment when you play. And so I could definitely see that be a turnoff for some people, but that was what I was aiming for in going for that.
Gotcha. Do you think there would ever be, or do you think in the future there might be an expansion or something that would come out that would maybe add on to maybe give more incentive to being in different tiers of the different tracks?
I think it's possible. We do have we have a second expansion that I will start talking about in about a month or maybe 2 months. I'm not sure if it'll completely address that question or that concern, but it might touch upon it a little bit. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, great. Well, I appreciate it.
We know the rules, Jamey. We don't talk about upcoming stuff until you announce it.
Until you're ready to talk about it. Yep, absolutely.
The rules still apply even on this show. Connor, thank you for your phone call.
Yeah, thanks, Connor.
No problem. Have a good one.
Have a good night.
You too.
Yeah, it's funny because Tapestry is that game where things are kind of in weird order. Like you might end up with like space capabilities before you have toilet paper.
Exactly.
Something like that.
But it makes for a weird, like, imaginary civilization in your mind. Like my people just can never figure out the three seashells.
The basics.
Throwback to the Demolition movie.
Oh, okay.
And speaking of movies, phone lines open, folks. 813-618-7099. Jamey, I was glad to hear that you are such a big fan of Fight Club. Although the rule number one rule, we're not supposed to talk about Fight Club.
Right.
I am.
Are you a fan too?
Yes, and I'm not surprised that you are. Like, I feel like that's one of my guilty pleasures is the Fight Club movie. It's like I know I shouldn't like this because there's so much anarchy and chaos and. But like, oh man, if I could just spend a day in Fight Club.
Yeah. Yeah.
So have you watched it? I think I mentioned this a bit before that it's been probably years since I've watched it, and I've really connected with it as a 20-year-old.
Me too.
But as a 40-year-old, I need to watch it again to see if I connect with it in a different way. Have you watched it
as
an adult?
Like growing up in a cubicle company environment.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that, again, guilty pleasure, that little inner seed of like, wow, everything's so straight and normal, and I'm so cautious about everything I do in life.
Just take a 180 and go the other way.
Right.
Go off the deep end.
That's great.
Like I feel for Ed Norton. Like I do. I totally do.
Well, let me ask you, we prioritize certainly the phone calls, but we do have a few questions for you here. Just Jamey, real quick. I know you don't have a lot more time, but BJ from Board Game Gumbo asked, he says, lots of board game companies are incorporating apps into games. He says, trend, ? Fad, ? Is this something Stegmaier may do in the future?
I think it's unlikely that we will do it, and the main reason for that is I have never had, I've now worked with a number of companies that have made digital versions for our games, and as appreciative as I am of those companies, I will say that none of them has ever even come close to delivering the game on time, and so I would really, if I built a game that depended on an app. I am going into it with a little bit of bias that app is going to run behind schedule, and then it would delay the game. And so I wouldn't want to hinge the whole schedule on an app that might be heavily delayed.
Interesting.
I do still have a lot of respect for the companies that are able to pull it off. Like Lucky Duck Games is probably one of the top ones right now, where they have almost built their company around that concept.
Right.
And so I bet their schedules are running just fine. Have you guys played like Chronicles of Crime or?
We have.
Destinies. This is the recent one.
We haven't tried Destinies yet, but we've definitely played a
lot of the FFG app games. But you're right, because I listened to the in-flight report from Fantasy Flight Games out of they weren't at Gen Con, but they placed it live, and they talked about how Descent, the Legends of Darkness, that was a 3-year production, process, and I'm like, that's not in the game.
Yeah,
that can't be the game. That's got to be the app. You're right, Jamey.
Right. Yeah.
Well, folks, we have time for one last phone call to respect Jamey's time. But if you don't get in, we'll ask some questions ourselves.
Yeah, let me just say a couple of things here. So Edmund from Sweden says, give my regards to Jamey, such an interesting person, and I have learned a lot about game design from him. So Edmund from Sweden chiming in there.
Thanks, Edmund. I hope you're doing well. What if he's still in the comments, Edmund? What are you doing up at 3 a.m. in Sweden?
He did comment here. He says, I should not be up at this time, but really love the show. It's so unique. And then that was just before the give my regards to Jamey. So
Edmund's popped in a few times to say he's listening, but he can't call because the wife's sleeping.
Yeah,
so he just listens.
So he just gets in on the chat there. So
yeah, but I gotta give you my appreciation, Jamey, for the support you provided to the show. I think you, much like Edmund, have recognized what we're trying to do here. The uniqueness of the ability to make the show about the callers, the other gamers in the world who want to find a different avenue to communicate. And we want to thank you for your support of the show.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I hope we're coming up on this year's charity auction. I do a different batch of content creators every year. And I think we featured you last year, maybe the year before. And I hope you picked up some new people as a result. Like one of my favorite things is sharing these content creators I love with everyone so that they could latch on and enjoy your content.
And I'm sure we did. I think I remember Carlos was checking after after your comments. He was checking the YouTube.
I was refreshing
subscribers. Yeah, every 15 minutes, looking to see, hey, there's another one. There's another one. So that must have been Jamey. So we definitely appreciate the help. Edmund did have a quick question here. Again, I'm trying to catch up on some of the comments here. So it says, my question to Jamey is, when you are in the middle of a game design, which of these strategies helps you find problems in your design? He gives a couple of options here: writing the rules, working on graphics, or solo playtesting.
Ooh, yeah. I haven't solo playtested much. I did so a little bit early on in the pandemic, and that it was okay. I learn a lot more from playing with actual humans. That's where it really helps.
Yeah.
But the other two things are really helpful. Like I learn a lot from just trying to lay out a card and seeing what makes sense, and writing the rule book. I learned so many things about the game design, like what rules are taking pages and pages to explain, and that's indicative to me that I need to really streamline those mechanisms versus things that that are easy to explain, and then I try to keep those mechanisms in the game. So I wonder if Edmund has a game design mindset too, because those are two big things that I think about.
Cool.
That was one of the coolest parts about being able to be a part of the design day. I've never been a part of playtesting or any design work, and just to see how that worked out, the conversations, a lot of it was just me sitting back and listening to conversations that were had, because a lot of the folks that attended and played games with us, Robert, the players, I mean, were also folks who were in the middle of designing games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it really felt like a round table of folks who were all interested in the same goal, good game design, having conversation after each game session. And I've never done game design.
Right.
So I get to sit back and listen and provide feedback from my perspective. You provided an avenue for us to have a voice at the table. That was so cool.
Well, that's awesome to hear. Yeah, and I love that format. I love the format, and it was new this year to invite some content creators like you. So it was really, really neat. I think not just for me, but for other people there, to have you there and have your voice at that table. So thanks for coming.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to. We're already putting it on our calendars to try to get back next year. So,
I had a blast. I think I spent like 20 minutes just talking to Dusty. We were just talking about video and audio.
Yeah.
And, just having the different content creators there too really helped with us, having that one thing in common.
Sure.
Any last things for the folks out there? I know we're coming up on your time.
Here,
and any last comments or information that you want to put out there to the folks out there?
Well, I think we all want to know who won the game of Brass Birmingham at Design Day that you guys were in.
It definitely wasn't me.
It wasn't either one of us.
Actually. I did terrible. I've never done so bad in brass before.
Yeah, say about a third of the way through the game, you were already down on yourself. You were already like, I don't know how I got so far down in this game.
It must have been all the tacos. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, something had your mind on something other than brass. But it was one of the two that we taught, to be honest. I can't remember which, whether it was... I
believe it was Chris. Chris came up with this strategy, and he was running up the points train.
Yeah.
He was really just rocking it, whereas me and Ira were arguing with each other on who's going to open up that market, right? Who's going to drop that link to that market so that we can both sell.
Yeah.
Right. We each didn't want to spend the action to do it, or in the coal to be able to drop that link.
Yeah.
But finally, I gave in and dropped that link, and Ira was able to make his sales.
Right. That's right. I remember
it got him close. I think he got second place.
We were right there together. Me and Ira, I think, at the end. But Chris was pretty.
Yeah. Chris was just doing his own thing.
Yeah. He
taking
ran
care of
away.
himself. Where Ira and I were fighting on. Well, I'm not going to do it.
So that was not too successful for the teachers. But I guess that's the thing. The teachers are supposed to lose, right? I mean,
that's my philosophy.
You're not supposed to.
If I win on a teach game, I did it wrong.
Yeah. Exactly. So
I'm not supposed to lose that bad.
We did it on purpose, right? Yeah, it was on purpose.
I was like 30 points behind the third place player.
Wow.
It was bad.
It wasn't real close.
Yeah, that's never happened. Well, I was glad to see you out there. We hope to see you again next year. We thank you for joining the show.
Yep.
And we wish you a great week and continued success. 9 years since viticulture. I mean, think about what you've done over 9 years. That's not that long of a time, folks. 9 years is not that long of a time to go from where you were to where you are now. We're all amazed and proud.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your session tonight. And I'll pop on a future date.
I thank you.
Caller myself.
Appreciate
all
it.
right,
Thanks, Jamey.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
All right, let's open up that phone line again, 813-618-7099. We're talking prototypes. And I got to say, we did really have a blast. I'm being authentic, and he hosted us over there as if we were some of his friends.
Oh yeah, and
from his group.
And he mentioned on his live chat how he made a specific effort to get around, and it was 75-ish people, and he tried to spend time one-on-one with just about everybody that was there at the con. And I felt that. I mean, he came around a couple of different times. We had a chance. We talked to him for a good 20 minutes, maybe during lunch. He sat down and invited us over to his table, and we had a chance to speak with him then. And then while we were just hanging around near the end of the event, we were hanging around talking to Dusty and a couple of the designers that were there, and we were just chatting it up. And then Jamey pops in over our shoulder and just joined right in on the conversation. So I mean, real down to earth guy. I mean, that's it's pretty cool to see. We sometimes even in our geekdom we put these people up on pedestals a little bit, but they're just regular people. I mean, he's obviously a bright man. He has a mind, an intellect for doing this kind of thing, designing games and making great products. But
it's not just that. Think about the community that he's built behind it.
Yeah.
Right. So the actions that he took to set it up such that there's a community of folks, and I know we've all seen the memes and the jokes about the cultist of all the cultists of the Stegmaier cult.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Sure.
But it's because the ability to draw folks into what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
And make them feel like they're a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Through his weekly Facebook live stream,
live chats, yep,
right, where he's actually taking questions from folks live every day, or every week.
Yep,
that kind of activity is what drives that loyalty, that brand loyalty.
Yeah, that community there. Yep,
so
definitely.
Much respect, and that's what we're hoping to do here on the show, is to remind y'all folks that without y'all, there would be no show.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're here for, is for you guys. The phone's open. 813-618-7099 is the number.
Yeah, hit us up for those conventions. We know we've got people out there. A couple conventions going on close to our hearts this weekend. Of course, Gen Con, the biggest in the United States. And then we've got Escape Winter Convention over in Orlando, which is close to home here, about an hour from where we are. We got friends of ours at both of those conventions. So hopefully we'll hear for some of you tonight and just get a quick update on what you've been able to play, what you've seen at the conventions, what's hot and what's going on. So I know you and I are planning to get out hopefully this weekend, Saturday and or Sunday, over to the Escape Winter. We've got a handful of people from our group here that are out there. I know at least 5 or 6 people are there. That's both of the conventions, I guess, are 5 days: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get out, and then we'll be able to report.
Yeah, it was great of Patrick to invite us out to the convention.
To Escape Winter, yep.
So we're going to be heading out to Escape Winter. I think I'm going Saturday. I think you've got...
I'm going to try to go Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to maybe hitch a ride with you on Saturday and then drive myself back up with my daughter on Sunday and make a 2-day out of it. So.
We're already seeing pictures from all the folks at Escape Winter Con and all the gaming that's going on. I know William and I talked today about some of the events that he's had already in Gen Con.
Yep.
So it's kind of strange having 2 conventions going at the same time, so I feel like everything's split.
Yeah, it seems like it was a really busy weekend. I mean, I don't think either one of us were really planning to go to Gen Con, but just to have that out there, I mean, it was kind of a decision at some point. It was like, well, what are we going to try to do? And then we had the design day just last weekend, so it was really all kind of crammed in here. And after that, as far as us locally, we don't really have anything going on until, I know you and I and a couple people from our group are going to the Dice Tower retreat in November, so looking forward to that. But that's, a month and a half away, so I got a caller.
You got a caller coming in. Give me a moment here. Let me fix this. Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
It's No Chill Will from Gen Con.
Hey,
Will.
Reporting in from Gen Con.
From Indianapolis.
Yeah.
How goes it out in Gen Con?
You want an honest opinion?
Well, it depends.
Yeah, how honest?
All right, you know me. I give honest opinions, man. I'll tell you flat out.
Listen, have you eaten today?
It's not,
how are your blood sugars? Are you know? How nice is this going to be?
I'm fine with all that.
Talk to me.
It's not. It's a different world here. It's what I mean by that is gaming. Its culture here is completely different as opposed to, let's say, Dice Tower Con.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean?
First and foremost, this place closes at midnight, so no 24-hour gaming.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, so you know when that? No, they don't tell you that kind of stuff.
This is all about the vendors
Secondly,
out there. Yep.
Okay, so here, no, that's just the icing on this little cake.
Okay.
Here's the kick in the nuts. their gaming library, you got to pay to play.
Oh yeah, that's always been a thing.
Really?
Yep.
So really, yeah, it's like $44 for the whole weekend. And guess what? You have to play in the room where you borrow the game. You can't even leave.
Yeah, I mentioned on a show the other night that they had it at least a year or two. It was in the football stadium across the street, but you had to pay to get into the stadium to be able to play.
Right.
And then you had access to all the games and everything. But
So you can't take it back to like the hotel room.
Nope.
Like we've done that at Dice Tower.
You can't even like take it across the room and play it on tables like out in the hall.
Yeah. Well, that's against the Dice Tower rules, so we won't say that too loud.
Well,
it's never supposed to leave the floor, the gaming floor.
And then Mitchell says you need to eat.
Oh, okay.
He said you haven't eaten since lunch, so this could be why you're so cranky.
But I'm not. Other than that, I'm not really cranky. I mean, but it's just odd. You need tickets for everything here. You need tickets for events that are free.
Yep.
You have to sign up for tickets for everything. Heck, you even have to buy tickets to do certain things here.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like the state fair where you pay to get in, but then you pay for every little thing you do.
Yeah.
It's like you go, what? I'm like, what? Mitchell and I wanted to go play Windward, right? And we were like, oh, you need tickets. I'm like, so he pulled out his phone real quick and he said, oh, there's only 2 left. And he booked us real quick and we got the tickets and then we went to go play it. The game is cool, but the experience was bad. I can tell you that right now. And that's because the guy who taught us was not all there.
Oh boy.
I still won. I just looked at everybody and said, look, I'm just going to do the craziest thing. And I think it's correct because our teacher just keeps walking away. So I think we played the game correctly, but yeah, I mean, even like I'm playing the demo for Lost Ruins of Arnak tomorrow at 5.
Yep.
That cost me $2.
Wow.
Just base game
so
Arnak.
I get to play. No, with the expansion.
It's the new expansion that's not out yet.
Oh, you get to play out the new expansion.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I want pictures.
Play with the expansion. There's a,
you may not be able to.
Well,
they haven't released.
No,
any
we can.
pictures.
Yeah,
you can take pictures. Oh, so they haven't released any photos yet. They mentioned today that.
Well, hey, we got you here, folks. Stick around. Make sure you subscribe. William's going to have photos for us.
Illegal inside photos. Yeah.
Puerto Rican man arrested in Indianapolis.
Yeah, whatever. But they haven't. No, I usually ask, and no one said no. So I've done that part. But as far as the whole COVID scene, I would say everyone here is following the rules. So that's really good.
That's good.
I didn't realize this, but there's a freaking food truck conga line outside this place.
I'm in.
Food truck down the block. Yeah, well, good luck in getting in the line and getting food. Me and Mitchell just went to the mall and got food.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
That part is pretty crazy. So you need to plan accordingly if you want to eat. So if you want lunch food, you might want to start waiting in line 11. Maybe 10:30.
Yeah, Robert's just going to pull a granola bar or a can of SpaghettiOs out of his pocket.
You don't leave the table. That's the rule.
Speaking of can of SpaghettiOs, I ran into Tom Vassell here.
That's what I heard. Yeah, you brought up the SpaghettiO
can. He shook our hand. I said, "You may not remember us, but me and our group, we brought that can of SpaghettiOs to sign." And he goes, "That was awesome." He said, you guys got to do it again. Are you guys going to retreat? And he goes, "Yes." He goes, "Bring a can."
Rob's got the can of SpaghettiOs on the screen for y'all now. It's signed by so many different people.
We've got Richard Borg on here. We've got Eric Lang on here. We've got the whole Dice Tower crew on here. We've got
Bonacor's on there.
Stephen Bonacord. We've got all kinds of guys signed it and drew pictures and put little comments on it. So.
Well, bring it with you to Gen Con because apparently there's no food.
No, he asked us he asked me, he says, "You guys still have it?" I said, "Yeah, we took it. It's all sealed up and everything." And he goes, "That's disgusting. That thing is gonna be nasty in 10 years." I'm like, "Probably."
You guys wanted to eat that,
but
I still do. I said at the next Dice Tower we were gonna crack this open and eat it together as a group.
No chance. Got all these beautiful signatures and things all over it. Yeah.
Now we got some comments here. Board Game Gumbo says to let you know that you need to head to the 3rd floor ballroom each night at the Marriott. It's connected to the con. There's free table play, bring your own games type stuff. He says that he got more games in at Dice Tower or BGG Con in one day than he did in all 5 days of Gen Con.
Exactly, and I can pretty much concur with that exact comment there. it almost like hurts me to the core to even have that feeling like deep down. It's like, man, it seems, like this is all about making money here. I get that feeling, but then it's not, it's just a weird feeling, that, you need to do all these things. And especially because this particular Gen Con is not completely full.
Right.
So, I mean, minus going to the exhibitors hall where there's demos for tons of games there that you can play before you purchase or just play in general, they just have open chairs for you to go up there and play, which is, depending if you're nice enough, they may let you play the full game as opposed to just 20 minutes of it.
Yeah, I know.
But as far as outside of that,
yeah,
you got to have a ticket for it, and unfortunately, if everything's sold out, that's not going to happen. I mean, Xena would love this one aspect. There's an Axis and Allies game going on every several hours here,
and
they're holding tournaments, for that here. It's just at least 6 tables of Axis and Allies going on. Full tables, 5 players each on each table. Magic the Gathering here is pretty popular in one section. Let's see, there's Panasaurus Games is here. They got
feel so sorry for them.
Play demo of Loop and all this stuff. No, they're fine. I mean, they're not.
I heard they got their games back. If y'all don't know, Panasaurus Games, their warehouse got broken into.
Got robbed. Yeah.
This week they got robbed, and then somebody took those games and put them on eBay.
Right.
To sell the games.
How smart is that? Yeah.
But now they were able to get them all back from that seller, so hopefully they can use, because I think that was what they were going to use at Gen Con.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, keep mental notes and thoughts on how it's going next week, because Rob and I are going to Escape WinterCon. You'll be coming back from Gen Con. Let's make that show about conventions so we can talk about our experiences at Escape Winter and at Gen Con in whole. This is only day one, William. It's only day one.
No, I think you need to do a comparison, side by side.
Well, open your mind to the experiences of Gen Con, I will
say this, though. Yeah. I will say this. This place is geared for you to do a lot of demos.
Yeah.
Lots of demos. Demos of stuff that's not available, demos of stuff that will be available, demos of stuff that are in that transitional period before they get released to the public in retail, or like Mosaic is a Kickstarter. I played that today.
Mm-hmm.
And that's still in the prototype phase, and their components already look amazing.
Yeah,
most
Kickstarters have been looking like that. All right, so you get kind of an insider track at the Gen Con event.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what Wayne Kruger and BJ are saying here in the chat, is they're saying it's not about, Gen Con's not about playing the games. That's not the convention for that. It's about the panels, the demos, the other nerdy stuff that's going on there. But it's definitely not an all-game convention like we're used to locally.
There's music, there's art, there's games, there's anime, there's dressing, there's cosplay, there's tons of. I think it hits every aspect of nerddom.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get back together next week when you get back in town. We'll make that show about conventions.
Yeah, for sure.
Be safe out there. Say hi to Mitchell for us. I know he called in today. We want him.
He's right here. He's probably gonna tell me to go eat real quick.
Yeah, and we'll bring him on the show next week. We can have that conversation, the four of us, between different conventions and the different styles and what we get out of it. Be safe, William.
Okay. All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks for calling in.
It's William from Gen Con calling in. Phone lines open, 813-618-7099. What's your experience with conventioneering? I don't know how to say that. Conventioning. And or prototypes. That's the topic of the show today, is the prototype aspect. What have you done? How have you managed designing? Have you done anything in that world? Rob, after hearing Williams and the comment trails, thanks everyone who's commenting in the trail here.
Participating online, yeah.
I just don't know because Gen Con was supposed to be my trip last year.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That was going to be my trip.
Sounds
I
almost
bought
like
tickets.
a bummer at this point. It's like, although this year is different. I was going to mention while Will was on there that, they obviously they announced it was half attendance, so it's only half the attendance. I've heard more than 50% of the vendors pulled out. So the designers and the people who do their things, the ones that are there supposedly have cut back their booths, and they're trying to save money, and because they know that the crowds are going to be smaller. I know several of the the designers, Ignacy Trevicek, said that they weren't going, and it's because he said they specifically weren't going because it was only going to be 50% attendance, and they just didn't feel it was worth all of the money they have to spend to go, all the time and the effort.
Yeah, but aren't they like in Poland?
Yeah.
Is that where they're based out of? Because I can imagine international travel alone.
Yeah. Could cue up the call here. There we
Beans
go.
and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, this is Wayne from Tampa. How's it going?
Hey, Wayne. Speaking of cons, Wayne just got back from one.
Yeah.
Dragon Con.
Dragon Con.
What's going on, Wayne?
Not much. Just calling in. I mean, probably more of a topic for next week. I guess we can talk about cons. But I mean, really, each one is got its own feel, right? So I long gave up doing gaming at Dragon Con because Dragon Con's about cosplay. It's about the parties, 24/7. Mardi Gras type feel. It's got the celebrities. It's got all that craziness. And the dealer room is different from Gen Con in that it's all kind of all over nerddom, not just board gaming and gaming in general.
Right.
And even in Gen Con, I've been to Gen Con a number of times over the years. And Gen Con for me is also not even about just sitting there and gaming. Now you can, but like, Will was saying, you can have tickets for every little game and you get like kind of nickel and dime, but they have, they got the True Dungeon, which is the live action, D&D board in a ballroom. And then you've got demos, which is really what Gen Con is all about. And then you got the dealer room, which is, you people, if you want the new hotness, you don't want to wait for it, you go to that. So I've always, I went to those two cons for a number of years, and then I realized it's just not, if I want to sit and game all day long, I'm going to go to a smaller con, like, BDG Con or Dice Tower, or like the local one next week in Tampa, Necronomicon, and little ones where there's not, they're not drawing in all of the big companies and all of the celebrities and the cosplay and some of that, so that it's more about just sitting there and playing games all day. That's sort of, I guess, just how I've decided that my year of conventioning is going. And I haven't been yet, but I want to go to Essen. But I hear Essen's even less about gaming, and it's more about demoing and like what's crazier. I've seen that, like, a friend of mine that went to demo, he's like, the demos are different here in the States. When you're demoing a game, you maybe play like a couple of rounds and then you move on. But at Essen, they'll sit and play like a whole game as a demo. Wow. So it's even harder to get table space to demo and play. So it's kind of just interesting. I think it's definitely worth going. I mean, I think just the site and the size and scope of it is huge.
Right, but your advice is if you know what you're getting into, know what it's about, so you know what to expect when you get there.
But this is a great conversation to have, because I guess I've never had that mindset or that thought about Gen Con. Like, I was super excited about going last year.
Yeah. And
had I gone and experienced it the way William did without having this conversation ahead of time, I think I would have felt the way William feels. Now, William feels like that a lot.
Yeah, that's Will a little bit, but yeah.
No chill Will.
Set you up for a little bit of disappointment. But I think, you like you said, I think with Gen Con is the convention center shuts down. So you have to go back to the hotels and find the gaming in the hotels late night. And that's sort of where you can get the pickup games, or just bring your own, or the game you buy in the dealer room, you bring them back and play them in the hotel at night. Sure. Whereas Dragon Con in Atlanta is in the hotels. So it's 24/7. It never stops. This year the gaming shut down, but it's mostly because of COVID. And, it worked out pretty well. I mean, we had a great time this year at Dragon Con. It felt really safe with the masking. And unlike Gen Con, they required vaccination or proof of negative test to get your badge.
Right.
And they released statistics afterwards that 90% of attendees showed vaccination cards to get their badge. So, and there's been no, we're now 14 days post Dragon Con, and we're not hearing about hundreds or thousands of people that attended that got sick afterwards. So it was safe, where it was a risk certainly, but it was pretty safe and it was a good time. So.
And and it's a risk, right? But if you look at the level of risk there, and then you look at the level of risk to our mental health of not getting out with our friends, not doing the things that we did, and you balance those two, I can see why you made that decision to go. I mean, Rob and I made the same decision to go to St. Louis to the design day.
Right.
We felt that the precautions that they're taking, the people that we're going to be with, is totally worth the risk of doing our first, out of town event.
Yep.
Right. Yep. I know, we did the right thing. It's like, it made it easier to go when they required either vaccine or proof of negative test. And then, when we got back, we didn't go hang out with people right away. We waited 6-7 days. Took a rapid home test just to make sure that we weren't a risk to other people.
Sure.
And like I saw the photos from your design day, everyone's masked up indoors. Even if most people were vaccinated, it didn't matter. Just playing it safe, just to get out and start living. Getting back to normalcy was good. So. But I don't know the truth of it, but on Twitter, I was looking at some of the people within the Dice Tower saying that there were several people from the retreat the last week that that have gotten sick because they were all indoors without masks. And there was a couple people saying that they know of a couple people that have come down with COVID after getting the retreat. So
on a regular con, we come down with con crud. We walk out of those cons feeling like garbage for the next few days.
Yeah. It'll be
run down after a couple of days.
Interesting to see the Escape Winter because they're taking both sides of the coin there. I know they've got one of the big ballrooms is a mask required, and then they have the second ballroom is mask optional.
All areas of the con are mask required.
Right.
Except for the one ballroom,
right,
which is mask optional.
Yeah.
So that's the tactic at Escape Winter Con.
So it'll be a little interesting to see what comes out of that. So, yeah.
But I know I've made the personal choice for myself to get the jab. That's on me. That's my decision. Sure. So I know I'm doing what I can to take care of me because I'm a big guy. I'm not lightweight. I'm not super healthy. So I figure I'm the candidate to get it. Well, I'm glad you came back safe. Great tips for the folks. That really helps me to set my expectations.
Yep.
For when I do go to Gen Con, because I plan on going, even though it is not going to be like what I expected.
Yeah, well, any con, I think it's a good idea to ask questions, know what you're getting into, read up on it a little bit. So I've never been to Gen Con, but all the things Will was saying, I've heard over and over and over again from people. So
over and over again.
Yeah. So
I think the other thing that people forget to do is when before you go to the con, they have the program available, and you have to spend a couple hours going through that, figuring out, okay, what events do I want to do? What games do I want to demo?
Right.
What tickets do I want to buy ahead of time and book for, and sort of plan out your day for that so that you know how many tickets you need going in and how much it's going to cost you to get those tickets.
Yeah, and I've heard you've got to be efficient there. You've got to plan from event to event to event.
I'm glad I have Robert because he knows I'm not that. I'm not that guy.
He's not that guy.
So Robert will get up super early in the morning. We'll get like 4 hours of sleep.
I'll get the con book out. I'll start highlighting. I'll have 3 different colored highlighters, and we're going from this one to this one to this one.
I'm still in my boxers trying to make microwave coffee.
Yep.
And he's like, "Let's go." So he's in line at the
table.
does
real well at Gen Con. Yeah.
Exactly.
If you're,
I got no problem with that.
I'll go along for the ride.
Yeah.
Will we see you at Escape WinterCon, Wayne?
No, probably not.
Okay.
I got some other conflicting stuff. I'm going to be at Necronomicon next week playing some games.
Cool.
And then next one after that is probably not until the new year.
Which hotel's that at?
End of years. It's at the Embassy Suites down by USF.
Oh, that's right. Next door to us.
Oh, right up the road, yeah.
Yeah, we're both right up the road.
Right at USF. Yeah. So.
All right, well, enjoy your trip.
It's a small group. So
I've been there.
That'll be my weekend of gaming. So.
And I've been there. Armada used to host a game room there. Armada Games would bring the library out there, and that's how I went out there and played games.
Cool.
So, all right, thanks for the call, Wayne.
Thanks for calling, Wayne.
Have a good week.
Okay. Enjoy. Have a good one. See you.
That was Wayne Kruger out of Tampa, coming back from Dragon Con, heading to Necronomicon. I can never. It's like horror-y type stuff.
That was hard for me to say. I'm usually pretty good with those.
And English is your first language.
Necronomicon.
Trademark Games and Dice.
Necronomicon, yeah. We got about 5 minutes if anybody wants to call in for one last quick call. But otherwise, I was just perusing the chat. We've had a pretty healthy chat online this morning. People chiming in about cons and lots of advice. But yeah, again, I think just to echo again what we've been saying is that know your con. The different cons are definitely different. And I know like Dice Tower has always said, and I had always heard that Dice Tower was one of the cons where you go and you're going to get more games played than pretty much anywhere else. And even though I'll admit, going to Dice Tower Con, which we're not going to experience this year. This will be the retreat, which will just be all gaming. But in the past, I have gone for some of the celebrity events and some of the shows and stuff they put on.
Cool Mini or Not Expo. I think that was mostly all about doing those events.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's see if I can get this in here.
See if we can get this set up right. Here we go.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's BJ from Board Game Gumbo from Louisiana.
Hey, BJ.
Hey, long-time listener.
Yeah, one of our long-timers, yeah.
That's right, man. Great show. I know you don't a lot of. I just want to tell you, great show with Jamey. He did a fantastic job.
Oh, that was awesome.
Some good information on the cons too.
Yeah,
that was nice.
It was fun.
I see
did want to call in and
you got a new
say,
setup. I've been
I know-
watching your setup now. I'm really like jealous about the setup you got with your cameras for the gameplays. If you guys aren't familiar with Board Game Gumbo, check him out on YouTube and Twitch. He's got this Twitch setup for his gameplays. It's looking really spiffy.
We're still in beta mode, though. We're still in beta mode.
It's always beta,
not
though.
quite ready for
Always
prime time.
adjusting, yeah.
I feel like it's always beta with this content creation. You're always iterating and changing. When you think you're set, you change a little bit.
I moved into what I like to call the gumbo pot. We have this big room that we get to play in, and it's just been, I went from having a setup that I've done 150 shows with, and then I got this new setup, and just everything seems to be buggy. So I do appreciate the comments. So that's really nice. We're having fun on the Twitch. Playing games live is just so much fun, man. I don't know why, but we're having a good time, and hopefully I'll get Mitchell and some of the other Lafayette crew and New Iberia crew to come out here and play. So
cool. That'd be a lot of
fun.
Yeah.
But I did call in because I wanted to defend Gen Con. I know it sounded like I was down on it, and I'm not.
Okay.
If you want to play games, BGG, Southern Board Game Fest, going to Escape Winter Con, going to Dice Tower Con, all of those cons, that's where you're going to play tons and tons of games, and the shopping is a lot more limited.
Sure.
But Gen Con is all about the pageantry. I mean, that's what it is. It's going to the Dice Tower Con live show, or going to the Strike tournament at the old Spaghetti Warehouse, or going to any one of the music shows, or if you're obviously in the tabletop, D&D and all that, it's just the bomb out there.
Sure.
But I feel bad if you're out there and it's your first time and you don't have anybody else there. It is one of those cons where it just makes it so much easier to go with people that are already there. I was lucky. First time I went 5 years ago, I went with guys that had been going for 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Oh,
so
they knew the ropes.
There was a comfort level there. Oh, yeah, they already knew the ropes.
Yeah.
But you walk into a dealer hall, and if you've been to the Dice Tower Con dealer hall, which I've worked many times, I know it's like the back of my hand. When you get to Gen Con, you're like, oh my God, this is just
dwarfs in comparison.
The cacophony of sounds. I mean, it's just a cacophony of sounds that hits you right in the face. So
yeah.
So another great show, and one of these days you guys need to get out there to Gen Con and just experience. It's like going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we will. We're not down on it. I mean, we know. Again, it's just like I've said over and over again. You just got to know what to expect. You got to know what you're getting into. And I think I had a pretty good idea. So I probably didn't do a good job of sharing with William before he went out there what to expect. But I will say he made a spur of the moment decision. He actually, while we were in St. Louis, I think he sent Carlos and I a picture of his Gen Con badge, and he says, "I'm heading to Gen Con." It's like that was completely out of the blue for us. We were not expecting that. So
that's good for him because experience you guys. And I think the best part about it, and you're right, BJ, is the fact that he went out there and then found out that Mitchell was there. So the two of them have met before. We've gamed before. Yeah. So the fact that you can go with someone else and both experience it together, it really does help. That's a great point.
It makes it so much better. So I'm going to extend the invitation. You guys make it to Gen Con, and I'm there.
Sweet.
Come to the third floor of the JW Marriott, and you'll hang out with us, and we'll play games all night.
Oh, it's done.
All right?
2022.
Done deal, yeah.
Yeah, let's pack the minivan, Robert. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. You're talking about a long trip to St. Louis. That's a long drive. Yeah, from Tampa to Indianapolis. That'll be a long one.
I love road trips. Road trips.
Another fantastic show. You guys are killing it. Keep going, and I love the show.
Thanks, BJ.
Appreciate the kind words. Thanks for calling.
All right. Have a good
night.
That was cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
Beyond the Sun, not as great as he said, but outside of that,
I still like Beyond the Sun. I like it.
I won, and I still didn't.
You still didn't love it, yeah.
Well, it was okay.
Yeah,
but Gen Con, we gotta plan that.
Oh yeah, we'll do it. We're gonna do it.
We're not knocking Gen Con.
We're gonna hit PAX. We're gonna hit Geek Week in the West.
The shock that I had when we went to Cool Mini or Not Expo.
Yeah.
Remember, we set up a game. We're in the middle of a game. I think it was Cosmic Encounters.
Maybe.
And then all of a sudden the workers came by and said, "Hey, guys, we got about 10 minutes before we close the doors." And we're like halfway through. We haven't really all the way got through. Just that shock of, wait a minute.
This place closes? Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm not used to this. Like, I'm Dice Tower. We're here all day.
24/5. 24 hours a day, 5 days. Yeah.
We don't even, it's just, we don't leave.
Don't say we
play
don't shower.
games.
Keep that secret. Yeah.
But to be told that in a room or an event hall is closing, it was just a stunner.
Yeah, it was a shock. Yeah, we weren't quite ready for that. So again, shame on us a little bit for not educating ourselves and knowing that this convention's got hours. And
But we will get out there. Let's start planning for 2022.
Yeah, we're gonna hit them all. Like I said, we're gonna hit PAX. We're gonna hit Geekway, BGG. We gotta get out to Texas for BGG sometime. I mean, those are all the big ones. So and then hopefully Essen one day. I really want to do Essen. So,
I know you've got some family nearby we can go crash with. I just need a corner.
Yeah, just a floor space somewhere. Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you folks for calling in, all the comments on the chat.
Yeah, participation was great tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for making Jamey feel so welcomed. It was awesome phone calls. I think we had a great time. So
definitely,
we'll do it again next week. But next week we'll talk about conventions. We did not do a podcast last week. I know we had stuff coming up with the convention. I'm gonna start moving that to a more twice a month format.
Every other week.
What I found is that Thursday nights was our game night. We did a lot of gaming, and we interrupted it with the live stream,
the extra filming and recording.
And then we started doing the podcast after that. And what I found is it really hurt our ability to get some of these games in that we want to play.
Yeah.
So we're going to move to an every other week format. We're going to bring it back next Sunday, not this Sunday, but next Sunday.
So every other Thursday we'll have a gaming Thursday, and then every other Thursday we'll have a filming Thursday.
Yep. We're still going to do the live call-in show every Thursday, except for last Thursday because we were on the road. Every Thursday, we're going to do the call-in show, and then every other Sunday, you'll have the podcast where we talk about what we've been up to.
Yep.
So on that note, we are the Beans and Dice Podcast. We're a podcast about
how we game.
I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
Have a good night. Thank you so much for watching. We will catch you all on the next one. Stay safe, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.